What's up, gang? I've got an interesting show for you today. We're going to show you how to take this boring, bland little house and turn it into something like this. So I've made this fairly uninteresting little sort of box house just to show you the kind of building that youngsters make with Lego, and this is the sort of building that I used to make at one point. But of course, when you're an adult fan of Lego or AFOL, you start to get the techniques to make a more interesting texture on the outside of your buildings. For example, if you just take a look at the police station here, notice these nice sort of surroundings to the windows there that are quite three-dimensional. If you sort of look at it sideways, you can see the bricks there sticking out very nicely from the side of the building. So one of the first techniques we need to look at is the use of these jumper plates here, which is basically a modified plate. So if we put these kind of lengthways like this on the window frame, which I'll just show you here, what this does is it gives you a row of studs that are actually kind of in the middle of the brick, so we can then put the windows on top, and instead of being sort of fitted flush to the building like this, they're actually kind of halfway set back from the wall. So if you look at it sideways, you can see that they're set back a little bit there, and that just gives it a little bit more interest. And then what we do at the top is we put some jumper plates kind of sideways on the windows, and I'll show you what happens then when we set it into the wall of the building. So with this extra blue plate there plus the jumper plates on there, and then a final layer of these white jumper plates on top of the windows, we've effectively added 3 plates worth, or in other words the equivalent of a normal Lego brick in terms of the height of the window. So we can adjust that accordingly on the building, and then if we just fit those to the top of the building, you'll see that these jumper plates kind of fit into the middle of the brick there, into those sort of 3 tubes that stick down there like this. And then I'll just put the rest of the bricks back and show you how that looks. So as we fit the rest of the bricks back in place, you can see now that the window is slightly inset into the wall there, which looks much more effective than actually just having it fitted flush like it was before. I think you'll agree. So as you can see, that looks much more effective, setting the window back sort of half a brick there. It gives it a little bit more texture, and of course we can do the same thing with the door. And if we move round to one of the existing buildings, I can show you another example of that. So if we look at the windows here, the window is set back slightly, and we've put a brown 2x4 plate under there to make a window box and put a little flowers on it. And notice also we've used these sort of brick shaped bricks there to give it a bit of texture, look a bit like house bricks, these type of bricks. If we go to the building next to it, again we've used what's called a rare colour type of brick there. We've set the windows back as just demonstrated, but we've also used this nice sort of creamy coloured brick. Notice I've put the little round circles in there. That represents those metal plates that you see in historic buildings that are sort of designed to hold the walls in. When the walls go a bit wobbly, you put a sort of steel rod on the inside with these metal plates on the end to hold the wall in place. So basically these little details give it a bit of extra interest. And notice on the door there we've put a nice sort of I don't know how you describe it, a door surround there with some sort of round bricks just to give it a bit more interest. These windows, notice we've sort of put these interesting shapes in there. And another idea is to use different sort of coloured bricks and tiles on the outside of your building to give it a bit more texture. Again, if I just take one of these off, you can see there's a sort of modified brick there which holds on the plates, and basically that's true for the rest of the building. And as with the previous build, I've put sort of different plates on there to give it a bit more texture. It looks rather like brickwork there. Notice the surrounds of the windows. We've alternated round bricks and square bricks just to give it a nice interesting window frame, and then we've made the curved bit at the top sort of stick outwards from the building, again just to give it a bit of three-dimensional texture, which I think you'll agree really improves the look of the building and gives it a lot more interest. Okay gang, well you might have noticed I've changed the high street a little bit by basically turning this block of buildings around, and also rearranged some of the cars and vehicles on the street a little bit. We've still got the Royal Motorcade there. I've added Batman and Robin to the Royal Motorcade as sort of extra protection for the King of Legoland. You may recall we made those kits up last week when we unboxed them. Also, as reported last week, we've got this Lego Panda car sort of under construction at the moment. Hopefully by the next show we should have this completed. It's loosely based on the old Ford Anglia car from the 1960s, you might recall those, which was the sort of first police panda car type of vehicle. Now, one other thing I like to do with buildings is to put people in them to give it a bit of extra interest, and I like to have them in the windows. For example, there's a little minifig there in that window. There's a minifig inside that open window. There's somebody on the balcony there on this building. Basically I'm sort of copying the idea of the artist Edward Hopper, who used to sort of paint pictures of people inside buildings or just outside buildings. This is his famous Nighthawks picture, where people are seen through the windows of a cafe. And there's a couple of folks on top of the townhouse balcony there, right at the top. There's a young lad there and his sister possibly standing near him. And even on the roofs of the buildings I like to have some action going on. For example, there's a confrontation here happening between Batman and Robin and some of the supervillains from the Batman series. Now, a really exciting announcement is that we will be ordering a Lego 76911 Speed Champions 007 Aston Martin James Bond car for August the 1st when it officially is released. So I'll be unboxing that on August the 1st, and obviously we'll put it on the channel. Going back to the buildings, this is the first building that I actually made outside of the official sort of Lego modular buildings. It's one that I pretty much copied from Bob Brickman. Big shout out to him. I've used it as a sort of bar stroke pub stroke bistro sort of place that Sir Geoffrey Boycott might go to after a nice game of cricket. Happened when he got to the pub after a nice game of Yorkshire cricket, snugs full of lasses supping ale and talking about knitting. Why can't they drink Babycham like normal lasses? You want to be talking about cricket with menfolk, not talking about knitting after a nice game of Yorkshire cricket. Sir Geoffrey Boycott, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so I think that's all we've got time for in this week's show. So I'll say live long and prosper, and see you all in the next show. And gang, can you please remember to like and subscribe, especially because if you subscribe it does help me hit my targets for YouTube. So, see you all next time.